I know that you're probably not going to listen to this or you're not going to understand it because you're going to be too distracted by my nose ring. As much as I can't stand you guys, and I really can't fucking stand you people, to see the worst things done to you would probably fill me with joy. But I just want to say that if you are in DC right now, you might not want to be. For a party that votes on feelings, I'm feeling like it's not safe there. And I feel like you of all people should understand how that feels. But anyways, get out of DC.
Bunch of weirdos, freaks, and perverts. As I told you before, Democratic Party is the evilest institution in the history of the world. I say this in every last one of my podcasts because I want you people to get it. They're going to try to gaslight you and try to say that we've been the party for civil rights for over 200 years. And that's the biggest lie any joke ever told. Party civil rights for 200 years. The Democratic Party been blocked civil rights in the Jim Crow era. The Republican Party passed all kinds of civil rights legislation in the 1970s and the 1870s. Democrats voted against all of it. And they passed it in the Supreme Court. The Democrats on the Supreme Court overturned all of it.
The party of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Until you disagree with them. Until you disagree with them, then they want you dead and gone. This is crazy. These people are insane. They've lost their minds. They've truly lost their minds. It's either their way or the highway, or we're going to take you out. They want to take out Trump. They want to take out Elon. They want to take out every MAGA Trump supporter. These people some of them need to be investigated by the FBI. That's just me, though.
The NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Damn! I've just been given, there is a new Title IX civil rights investigation that the Trump administration is launching against Maine. So President Trump was not lying when he said he will be seeing the Maine governor and her team in court over this.
How is she going to say she's going to comply with state and federal law, but not follow the federal law? That doesn't make any sense. I can't wait to see the results of this lawsuit.
Germany has elections on Sunday. What are your thoughts? What do you expect to happen in the elections on Sunday?
Who has elections?
Germany.
Oh, Germany. I wish them luck. We got our own problems. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
You just saw.
We got our own problems. Damn right, we got our own problems. America first. I mean, that's at the core, right? That was his immediate and instinctual response. We don't give a damn what they got going on over there. America first. We got our own problems.
Our national security mission is equally as important. Anyone that wishes to do harm to our way of life and our citizens here or abroad will face the full wrath of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And if you seek to hide in any corner of this country or any corner of this planet, we will put on the world's largest manhunt and we will find you and we will decide your end state, not you. We will uphold the Constitution. We will uphold ourselves to the Constitution.
I mean, I haven't asked the president for anything ever.
And if it comes up, how will you handle it?
Well,
You won't be involved.
yeah, I'll recuse myself if it is.
If there's a conflict, you won't be involved.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want that, and he won't want it.
Right, and obviously I'm getting a sort of a daily proctology exam here. You know, it's not like I'll be getting away from something in the dead of night.
He's a very good person, and he wants to see the country do well. And I know people that would try and take advantage of the situation. This guy's somebody that really cares for the country, and I saw that very early on. I saw it really a long time ago when I got to know him. He's a very different kind of a character. That's why You know who loves him? Young people that are very smart.
Look, Nancy Pelosi and company wanted to turn downtown Washington, D.C. into downtown Kandahar. They literally called, and I was there with the chief, as chief of staff at DOD. They called the SecDef and the chairman, and Pelosi said, "We want tanks." And we said, "What? You want an A1 Abrams tank? Where are we going to put this, Madam Speaker? And are we going to use a tank on American citizens at the United States Capitol? Of course not." So we didn't do it because it was a disgusting politicization of the day. And it shows you the liars that Nancy Pelosi has now been caught in. And these are the people that wanted to kneecap Donald Trump.
Mainstream media cannot ever say that anything this administration is doing is positive. So even if they find unbelievable corruption, and they've found some really wild shit, like what was the $4.7 trillion in untraceable money?
Oh, yeah.
I sent that to you, right?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, that was Doge, was digging through essentially the way that money is audited within the government. And they look at the data sets and how things are divided and how you have to explain what's going on. And the idea is that there's a lack of links to payments, outgoing payments, budget line items. So this payment goes out. What is it for? Right? It would be the same thing if you had I have a business. And in that business, you have to know what you're spending your money on, right? That's a logical thing. I'm not a rocket scientist. But what they're saying is that there you go.
Yeah, here it is. So it's the Treasury Access Symbol, TAS, is an identification code linking Treasury payment to a budget line item, standard financial process. In the federal government, the TAS field was optional for $4.7 trillion in payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where money is actually going. It would be like US Treasury for the great work.
It would be like if I got my monthly reports, my monthly numbers from our finance director, and I looked at it, and there's the outgoing line. So I can see how much money's going out, but there's nothing that links it to where did it go? Did it go to pay a vendor? Did it go to pay rent? Did it go to pay staff?
Who bought a jet?
Yeah, who bought a jet? Yeah. By the way, when a company buys a jet, that's a key fraud indicator.
Well, there you have it. Kash Patel just confirmed as director of the FBI. Pretty fucking unbelievable. The most serious agency in our government. Kash Patel, FBI director. If there is not an "are you fucking kidding me" moment, it's this. And for anyone who was fooled into thinking, don't worry, there's reasonable Republicans in the Senate, bullshit. There are no reasonable Republicans in the Senate. We cannot count on them. They will not save us. We are on our own in this. Because who was blocked? No one was blocked. You have a Secretary of Defense with absolutely zero experience laying off veterans at the Pentagon. You have an anti-vaxxer overseeing Health and Human Services, as we have a measles outbreak and the bird flu running rampant, and they're laying off people who fight cancer, make vaccines, and inspect bird flu. We can't count on any of them. Any of them.
Yeah, sounds like this guy is terrified. He's scared. He is scared. He said, "Oh my God, nobody's going to save us. Nobody is going to save you. I hope nobody saves you guys, Democrat or Republican." This is what these people fail to realize. We don't care who it is. Anybody that is involved in the corruption, anybody that is part of the swamp, the deep state, all of y'all have got to go. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are or what side of the aisle you're on. If you are involved in the corruption, you've got to go. And there's no sympathy whatsoever for any of them.
Speak for your goddamn self. Leave the rest of us out of it. Slava Ukraini. Heroyam Slava.
I'm not in the military or, haven't served or anything, but I'm pretty sure they do. I think it's called PT, right? Do they not do PT anymore? I don't understand. This is an American soldier. This is embarrassing. And here's the thing. Your allegiance is to the wrong, whatever your allegiance is to. Your allegiance should only be to the Constitution of the United States and the country, the president. That's it. And the people. That's it. Not any other country, not Zelensky, not NATO, not the EU, not any of those people. The United States Constitution and the president and the people. That's it.
The one to call it out. The fact that I'm rooting for Canada and I'm rooting for Mexico a lot is really wild. But they are really the ones that are speaking truth to power right now. They can see what it is. And they were like, we are not messing with this crazy regime from Mar-a-Lago, and basically calling them thugs. That's what it is. But I'm like, y'all knew who he was when y'all elected him. So don't act surprised.
President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us, because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different times. This was a time in which hopefully we won't ever go through again. We had a once in a lifetime pandemic. The bad part is that I don't know if it's once in a lifetime, because we know that Ebola, unfortunately, was detected right here in New York here recently. And if we continue down this road of getting rid of scientists or deciding that we don't want to rely on experts as it relates to what they're telling us to do, or we don't want to deal with vaccines and medicine in this country, then we may be facing not only our next pandemic, but our next 2, 3, or 4 pandemics because of their incompetence. So no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you.
Good point. Sure, Caitlin. I have a question. I'll start with you, Kevin Hassett. Okay. Thank you for being here. And then I've got a question for Mr. Waltz. On these potential checks that you might send out from Doge, is there a concern as you're thinking through this that they could be inflationary?
Oh, absolutely not. Because imagine if we don't spend government money and we give it back to people, then if they spend it all, then you're even. But they're probably going to save a lot of it, in which case you're reducing inflation. Okay, so and also, when the government spends a lot, that's what creates inflation. We learned that from Joe Biden. And so if we reduce government spending, then that's reduces inflation. And if you give people money, then they're going to save a bunch of it. And when they save it, then that also reduces demand and reduces inflation.
Okay, so you're not worried about it.
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, just one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence, who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI, racist DEI policies, and lawyers at the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
Damn, this woman makes me sick. I don't know who I can't stand more, either her or AOC. It's almost like it's a close battle between the two. But the funny part about this woman saying all of these things that she just said, and it's crazy that she said, oh, what's $5,000 going to do for you? when they were okay with giving people $750, right, for the floods and the hurricane victims. $750. These are the same people that advocate for reparations. They never say, "Oh yeah, we're not trying to do handouts." Her and Ayanna Pressley the other day were talking about reparations. These are the same people that take credit for the stimulus checks, right? When Trump takes credit, Trump never really took credit for it like that. It's people that give it to him, but it doesn't matter. But they'll take credit for that, right? Oh yeah, we're the ones that gave it to you because the overwhelming amount of people support it. I mean, these people are just so bad. They're so bad, and it's so inconsistent. It just makes me sick to my stomach. I can't stand this woman.
And they call it the MAGA revolution. It's not a revolution. It is a counter-revolution. There's a big difference. This is a restoration. Let's use the word Trump restoration. We don't really appreciate what we've been through with 8 years of the Obama revolution and the 4-year more radical third term of Obama using or employing the waxen effigy of Joe Biden. A revolution that we've experienced was a cultural, economic, political, social revolution. It was very similar to the French Revolution under the Robespierre brothers. We should remember what they tried to do. They changed the days of the week. They renamed things. They tore down statues. They went after the church. Does this sound familiar? This revolution that we've experienced, everything was up for sale. Everything was negotiable. We invented a third gender and rammed it down people's throats. We tore down statues. We said 1776 was no longer the foundational date. It was 1619. We changed the very mechanism that we vote. We went from 70% of the electorate voting on election day to 70% of the electorate not doing that, either through mail-in or early voting. That was a radical change that had no discussion. It was done by fiat. It was incredible. We looked at girls' sports and we destroyed it. We said that transgendered biological males that were now transgendered females could compete. They won over 600 medals they took away from hardworking female athletes. We had drag shows among young children. It was an effort to change the entire Constitution. We forget that. They were trying to bring in Puerto Rico as a state and Washington, D.C. to get 4 instant senators. They were proud. They said that they were going to pack the Supreme Court. It hadn't been tried since 1937. And it was a object of disgrace ever since, but they were proud to try it again.
What comes next? After we've discriminated against, deported, or disparaged all the immigrants and the gay and lesbian and transgender people, the developmentally disabled, the women, and the minorities, once we've ostracized our neighbors and betrayed our friends, after that, when the problems we started with are still there staring us in the face, what comes next? All the atrocities of human history lurk in the answer to that question.
What should be next on his agenda and on the top of his mind is going to the gym. Right after he leaves there, he's worried about the wrong thing. Talk about they're going to deport the LGBTQ disabled people. Come on, bro. These people are just not, they drive me crazy. I can't emphasize that enough.
Sorry, since you're at my home, can I just get your name and your badge number, please?
I have a card here.
Okay.
It's Erica Ingram.
Thank you.
And this is just some information about peaceful protests. That's all it is.
Okay, so you saw something on my Facebook?
No, on the Facebook group.
Okay. And decided to come to my personal residence to give me information about peaceful protest?
Yes.
Okay, so are the Peterborough Police, no, you're with OPP? Are you guys now monitoring people's Facebook pages? Or Facebook groups to who comments as to what their status updates are or what they're doing or
So
within the group?
Just because of the protests happening province-wide, yes, we have been monitoring the protests.
Okay.
So there's a protest coming up. I'm simply providing you with information.
Monitoring the protest or monitoring the people? Monitoring the protest or monitoring the people? These people are crazy. This is in Canada, by the way, guys.
Protest. And now I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
That is all.
So the Ontario Provincial Police are watching what people are doing on Facebook in different groups, whether or not they're commenting, participating, liking, and you guys are now doing service calls to give people information about peaceful protest.
It's just a proactive measure to make sure you understand your rights about peaceful protesting.
I have a copy of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, so I'm well within that and very understanding of that. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that you guys aren't going to waste our tax dollars continuing to do this to everybody, but now it's nice to know that we're being watched. So
if you have any questions, my cell phone number is on the card.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow. What pisses me off the most is that smug look that they have on their face. Just that childish, condescending, smug look. Because they know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is wrong, but they just don't have the backbone. Whether it's in Canada or here in the U.S., it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. This is nonsense. This is an infringement. I wish they would do something like this here in America. You better not step foot on this property unless you're here to arrest me ever again. I don't ever want to see your face again. This is crazy.
I've been really frequently getting the question of, not question, but statements saying like, you're white, you're privileged, you're Christian. How can you argue these things when you don't understand what like an oppressed individual is going through?
Thank you for your question. So white privilege is a myth and a lie and should be completely destroyed. It's rooted in racism. It is a racist idea. It is a racist idea. The best people in America are not white people. They're Asian Americans and Indian Americans. So why don't they ever talk about Asian American privilege? Asian Americans were widely discriminated against in the 1940s and 50s. We treated them horribly and put them in internment camps. Then through a series of decades of making good choices, they've now become the richest per capita subracial group in America. I never hear about Asian American privilege. I never hear about people getting so upset that all the Asian Americans are getting the PhDs or the degrees or all the good jobs in California, yet they're trying to target white people. Here comes the basis of it. If they're trying to balkanize this country and break us into different subracial groups, that is the definition of racism.
As much as we don't want to believe this, the white man is our only ally in this world. The white American man is our only ally in this world because he will unite with us under our constitutional rights to help save his country. He's our real brother. The white man taught us how to read, homie. The Mexicans didn't. The white man died with us, homie, to help us get out of slavery. The Chinese didn't. The white man fought alongside the white Jewish man with Dr. King to help us get civil rights. The Mexican didn't, the Latin didn't, the Chinese didn't, the Cuban didn't. So he's really our only friend in the world. Because as much as y'all want to believe if y'all leave this country, nigga, they go kick you worse than your ass, you go somewhere else. Go to Africa and watch how them Africans treat y'all. Nigga, go somewhere, nigga, man, don't nobody like us but the white boy and his white woman. They our only real friend, my nigga. I swear to God. I swear to God, homie, they our only real friend. That's why, homie, don't nobody else really fuck with us but white people. Everybody else use us for economical benefits.
You want to know how I know that the white man or white people are not racist in this country? Because if you were to think about it deep, if this country was a white supremacist country, the people that would be fighting to defend this country in the military would be mostly white supremacists, right? I'm sure everybody would agree with that. If this is a white supremacist country, the people that are in the military that defend this country, this white nation, would be white supremacists. But that is the exact opposite. Because if you look in the military, those so-called white supremacists die for anybody that's standing right next to them, whether it be a black man, an Asian man, a Republican, a Democrat, an independent. So if the people that are defending this country, this white supremacist country, are the white supremacists in the uniform fighting for this nation, but they're also dying for anybody that's next to them and willing to die for them and save their life, no matter their background, no matter where they came from, no matter what hood they're from, as long as they're there defending this country and this Constitution and their freedom and the American citizens, the American people's freedom, it does not matter your background, skin color, culture, or identity. So this country cannot be a white supremacist country by core, by definition. That's impossible. That's my opinion. All right, guys, we're going to end the video right there. Hope you enjoy the content. We're going to end it with this clip right here because I cannot stand Roland Martin tap dancing ass. Anyway, hit the like button down below. And then, of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.